Thanks so much for having us. Pam and I are really excited to be here tonight to talk to you about some ways to bring more joy into your life. It's so awesome listening to all of the other presenters because we all have common language. A lot of these things overlap on each other. So there might be a couple of things that we hit on briefly also. And you, just like Lyman said, you get to take what works for you and leave the rest. Pam and I are both former educators. We have over 25 years of experience together in the classroom, and we also both were wellness coordinators and wellness program coordinators for our districts before working together with Steeping Wellness. So as consultants with Steeping Wellness, we work with school districts to help take care of their employees, and especially right now, educators just like us as parents, we all need some help and support in doing that also. So Christina, you can go ahead and go forward a couple of slides here. We were going to do a little grounding too, so I'm glad that you all had that opportunity. We want to just start by celebrating. We've been here in the chaos of the pandemic for several months now, and we're a couple of months into the school year, and you're here and you've made it. And we're really proud of you. And I know as a parent of 3 young kids, I oftentimes don't feel like I am doing enough, but we want you to know that you are enough and you're doing enough, and your children love you and they know that you're doing the best that you can. So thank you, and let's celebrate the progress and the good things that we have done in this time. The first step that we're going to talk to you about today is, again, has been talked about a little bit briefly. Christina, you can pop forward to the next one. Thank you. Just remember to breathe and practice mindfulness. I know with my 2 7-year-olds and my 11-year-old, they are around each other all the time now. They don't have breaks like they used to at school, so they are fighting a lot. So oftentimes my reaction, I'm in not in the good place of my brain. So it reminds me to take a moment to take a breath so that I can respond in a way that's a lot more nurturing, and it is going to be ultimately better for me and for my kids. So practicing mindfulness can be great. There's some fantastic apps out there. We love Calm and Headspace are some of our favorites. But even if you can take a couple of moments in the morning to get centered, that can help you. We also love gratitude practices either before bed or at the dinner table of maybe what are 3 things that you're grateful for today. And the rule is you can't repeat the same thing that you always say. You have to come up with something new. And another idea to bring more mindfulness to your families is just simply go outside for a walk and notice your senses. Hey, what are 3 things that you can smell right now? What are 3 things that you can see? What are 3 things that you can hear? So those are a couple of ideas for bringing more mindfulness to yourself and to your children as well. The other thing to remember, Christina, awesome, is to keep your words in check. You know, our kids do listen to everything that we say, and what they hear is what they take as their truth. So we want to be careful about what we say. And we also, I love this analogy of the flight attendant. Glennon Doyle talks about this, that when you're in a plane and there's turbulence, you look at the flight attendant. That's the first thing that you do, right? And if they look worried, you're more worried. But if they look calm and they're just going on with their business, then it helps to make you feel calm also. That's not to say that we should ignore any tough feelings. We definitely should feel them and talk about them, and also know when we can take a breath and focus on the things that we can control. Another tip, and routines, we've talked about this, or this has been talked about, but I think it's important also just when we talk about routines, thinking about boundaries. I know Lyman talked about how do you kind of turn off your work time and move into home life. And I have my kids pack up their backpacks at the end of the day. They each have their own space, but they pack it up just as kind of like a physical reminder for them that, hey, the school day is over and now we're transitioning into home life. And for me, I put curtains on my office so that I can close those at the end of the day. I can walk out and know, hey, that space is done now. Now I'm functioning into home life. So there might be a physical barrier that you can use to help you transition as part of your routines. And I talked briefly before about circle of control. That's something that we love to say around here. Pam, do you want to talk about the circle of control?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having us, everybody. It's great to be here. Um, the circle of control phrase is kind of a model that Khalees and I use a lot professionally with work, and it's also a phrase and model that I have really adopted and used in my own personal life. Our lives are kind of made up of 2 different factors, right? Like the things that we can control and those things that we can't, and we all handle stress a little bit differently. From my experience and working with other people, the happiest people are the ones that really focus their time and energy on those things that they can control. And so what Khalees and I like to share with our educators and you as parents also is just to really focus on those things you can't control. So like, your kindness and grace, your positive attitude, your use of social media. And we just feel like this will help reduce some of that worry and stress and anxiety. And I know I shared with the other group that last week I was talking with Khalees, and even her little daughter said to her one day something had come up and she was like, Mom, circle of control. And so it's really something that, you as parents can use. And I think that your kids can kind of work that into their life as well.
Yeah, I think along the last thing on circle of control is we can control our words and our behaviors, and we can also control how we speak to ourselves and what we say to ourselves. And we oftentimes will say things to ourselves that we would never say to another human being, but we think that we have every right in the world to talk that way to ourselves, and we simply don't. So don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself the grace and talk to yourself like you would a best friend. The next tip for you is just checking in daily, checking in with your children, with partners, with friends, with family. That doesn't mean that you need to go crazy and spend your whole day doing that. But one way that we like to do this is by asking the question instead of how's it going, because everyone's so programmed to give a superficial, oh, I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine. But asking a question like, how's your heart? And it makes people pause and really think, oh, how is my heart right now? And you'll get a more genuine answer, and that might be what they needed in that moment. Or what's going well for you. It takes, for every negative idea or thought or conversation that we have, it takes 3 positives to neutralize that negative. So anytime we can celebrate the positive, we should. So I love asking this question, what's going well for you? And focus more on the positive. Or
Khalees, the last one that says, is there anything I can do to make this week better for you? That's something that my husband and I started doing years ago. And, oftentimes there isn't anything that they can do, right? But even just hearing and knowing that they're acknowledging that I may have a week full of activities and stressors, and sometimes the simplest thing can really go a long way. So I love this tip for checking in daily.
yeah, and I think most of all, we've heard this too. We need to check in with ourselves and take that moment while we're asking other people, "How's your heart?" Stop and take a moment to think, "How is your heart?" Take a moment to feel your feet on the ground, to feel your breath, and just to notice what are you feeling in your body, what emotions are showing up, and where are they showing up, and just take a moment to lean into those emotions. And then the final thing second to final thing, the last tip that we have for you is to have fun. So Pam's going to highlight a couple of her favorites on this list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so many times we say, and oh, take a break from social media, right? And stay off the computers and the internet. But I do really want to remind everybody that there's a lot of great information on the internet, and that have some really helpful and creative ideas on things that your family can do. I know recently my sister was telling me about a website that she uses. It's called Family Days Out. And what you can do is you simply just kind of put in your zip code, and then it'll share some of the activities that are going on in your area that are safe and socially distanced. And then it'll also kind of give you some options that you could do, maybe that you can't physically visit, but like if you wanted to do like a virtual museum tour, some virtual escape rooms. I know that the Family Days Out also suggested some ideas on like craft projects or even like science projects that you could do at home. And so don't forget that, while, we're on the computers a lot, and I know, logging back on to find things for your family to do might not be exactly what you want to do. There's some really great sites out there that'll help you stay busy, especially during these, winter months that are coming up.
yeah. Thanks, Pam. And the final thing, the best thing, the biggest thing that you can do to help support really everyone in your home to bring that peace, love, and joy into your home is this next slide, which is take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. We need relaxation most when we don't have it. So Christina, if you want to pop forward, it doesn't mean that you're pushing everything else aside. It means that you're taking care of yourself so that you can give back to your family and your friends and those around you the best that you can. You have to refill your own cup before you're giving, before you have anything to give to others. So a couple of just quick things to help you care for yourself. Good sleep. If you can have a consistent sleep and wake time, that can be really beneficial for you. Shutting down any electronics at least 30 minutes before bed and doing any sort of relaxation or journaling before bed can be helpful also. As far as eating, don't forget to eat. Sometimes everything gets so crazy that we forget. So make sure that you're eating whole foods as much as you can, stay hydrated. And then if you want to pop forward to the next slide, movement, as much movement as you can. We're sitting a lot, especially if we're working from home, but remembering to go outside and take a breath of fresh air, go outside and go for a walk, or even just sit and stand or do some stretching while you're sitting as
Yeah,
well.
actually, real quick, I just read about, it's called text neck, and people are suffering from this text neck because everybody is constantly, looking
Yep.
down on their screens, and on their phones. And so they were giving advice about a rolled up towel, and just for 5 to 10 minutes a day, just lay flat and then have that rolled up towel under your neck. That'll really help with that text neck that we're getting. So
Yeah, opening it up. Good. That's awesome. So, lots of different activities that you can do. We talked about the boundary setting as well. There's so many great apps, but the bottom line is try different things until you find what works for you.
and
If
don't
you're
feel
like,
guilty. And don't feel guilty about that self-care.
no,
You've earned it.
yes, absolutely. So you can, the slides will be shared with you. You can follow us on social media. We put up different posts almost daily and our steeping tip of the week on Sunday. So thank you so much for having us. And we hope that you do take at least some of what we said to heart and take time to take care of yourself. Thank you.